All right, guys, welcome back to YoSpill, and I hope you guys are having a great day and are ready for another video. So, in the first video on our Integra, um, we did a test drive. I explained everything about the car, how we got it, where we got it from, and our future plans with it. So it's been a couple of days now. As you guys seen on the dyno, it smokes a lot. We need to put a lot of heat cycles into it, see if the rings will come back. I did a compression test on the car, and it has 210 across all four. So the head work and the timing and everything that was done to it seemed to be done correctly. It did make a full pull all the way to 8,000 RPMs, so I don't see any issues with that. It's just a 178,000 mile GSR. So it needs a little time to maybe reseal the rings, get some heat in it after setting for so long. But this video is going to be about replacing all the brakes and the rear wheel bearing on the driver's side that needs replaced. So as you guys know, or if you don't know, we at YoSpill here are in central Pennsylvania, and we have inspections. So for your car to pass a inspection legally, you need to have a catalytic converter if the car is 25 years or newer. All brakes should be replaced or in good working condition, and then you guys have to have safety for like seat belts, headlights, wipers, and everything like that needs to be up to spec. So this car sat in the field for 3 years. So the brakes, of course, need replaced. I just don't trust, if I'm going to daily drive this thing around, a set of brakes that have been sitting in a field for 3 years, rusting. And then I also want to replace that wheel bearing. And then we got a new set of wheels and tires. If you guys know anything about Integras, these right here are LS meshes. They belong on an LS. Those right there are GSR blades. They actually belong on this car, but we didn't get tires for them yet. So in the meantime, what we went out and purchased was a set of GSR Sunflowers, which are a special edition wheel that I will show you a little bit later on the video. But let's now get into a time lapse. I'm going to do all the brakes. I'm going to do the rear wheel bearing. And I'll do a short clip right here showing you exactly what we bought. So what we bought was a complete brake kit from Power Stop Extreme. I personally have the Power Stop pads on the Juke. I also have them on the EK. And of course, once I find a brand that I like, that makes a good quality product, I'm going to use it on everything. So, Power Stop front rotors, Power Stop rear rotors, Power Stop front pads, carbon ceramic, Power Stop rear pads. And the one thing I specifically like about Power Stop is the kits include everything. So you get new rubbers for your push pins, you get new hardware. They give you grease to put on the pads, so I'm not on the pads, but on the bolts and everything, so nothing is stuck. And they also mark the rotors to which side to actually go on. So, like I said, complete front and rear kit with everything included, like it says here, thermal. And then once you open these boxes, this stuff is actually inside and underneath. It actually gives you the proper braking procedure for brake pads. I don't know how many of you actually would do this, but if you properly bed a set of pads and rotors, the brake fill on the car is a lot better. If you just put them on and go out and start driving around, the coating that is on here, which you clean off, doesn't get a smooth treatment of the carbon off the pads. And then your brakes are just a little bit wonky. I know that I've done a braking procedure on the Juke and the EK, and the brakes feel amazing. So as recommended by Power Stop, of course I'm going to do that procedure on these as well. And then we have a rear wheel bearing from Rock Auto over here. This is a high quality Rock Auto replacement. So I'm going to throw you guys on a time lapse, and then we are going to get to pulling the wheels off, pulling all the rotors off, pulling the brakes apart, and changing out the rear wheel bearing on the driver's side, and then throwing everything back together with all the new stuff, and then sticking the new Sunflowers on. And we might do a little paint correction. I might show you just a before and after, but we plan on getting this car inspected. The exhaust, cat, and all that stuff is already done on the car. So it is ready. Just want to make sure all the safety stuff is taken care of. All right, guys, so as you've seen there in the little time lapse, I don't know if you could even tell, but this top bolt right here was literally finger tight. The rest of the bolts on the car were good until I got back here. These calipers are held on with an upper and a lower bolt, but we only have one bolt over here. So whoever had this car before, or from it setting in the field, this bolt itself is completely missing. There's not even a bolt in the hole. So if I move this out of the way, I just wanted to show you guys this before I continued working. There is a little nub in there. So I'm gonna have to pull this whole bracket off, pull this apart, get whatever's in this piece out, and then find a new brake bolt for it. Good thing is I've saved some of the other brake bolts off the Civics I've worked on. And these are usually OEM or 12 millimeter. The aftermarket ones come 14 millimeter. So if you're ever working on an Integra or a Civic brakes that has front and rear disc, you should only need a 12 millimeter if everything is OEM. But if something has been replaced before, you'll need a 14 millimeter. But you can see how rusty that is. That tells me that there hasn't been a bolt on there in a long time. So like I said earlier, safety first. Always check the brakes on a car. Like I said, I did drive this down the road, but I didn't do anything too excessive or any excessive speeds. Cars, when they set, anything could happen, or poor mechanics, anything could happen. So you had a front loose caliper bolt and you had a rear missing caliper bolt. So let me throw you guys back on the time lapse. Let me get the rest of the stuff all apart, and then we will be, we should be done investigating what potentially is wrong. I actually see a problem already. So you see this hole right here? I guarantee you there's moisture inside this wheel bearing, and that's why it's loud. If we go on the other side, please be no hole. Yeah, you see this cap is perfect. So there's no hole. And right now the e-brake is pulled a little bit, and you can see how tight this is. And then if we go on this side, oh, this one's tight too, so we're good. But yeah, missing caliper bolt here, completely loose caliper bolt in the front. So we're gonna have to find one of these, even though I'm pretty sure I have an extra. So back to the time lapse we go. So guys, last night I spent about 2 hours. I completely detailed and polished the car. If you could see now and then go back into the beginning of the video, I'll throw a little clip in here of the paint before and after. And then you can see the sunflower GSR special edition wheels. So on the time lapse, I showed everything, but I didn't finish this rear quarter over here. We fast shipped a wheel bearing because this one was just as rusty as the other side. And there's no need for us to throw this car back together and leave a bad wheel bearing. So that'll be the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, thank you for watching Yostville, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already.